Hello, wishing you all a wonderful evening and welcome to this online session. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. You don't sound well, Prashansa. All fine? All good?
Yes, ma'am. All good. Thank you.
All right, that's wonderful to know. So let's get going and see. We already heard in our previous session the tragedy which has befallen on the spider. Oh, sorry, which has fallen on the fly. So that is the tragedy that we have. Somebody can look for a picture of a fly and a spider, a real picture, and see if we can put it on the screen. Let's have some good picture of a spider and a fly, and we'll try and put it on the screen if you're able to, see if you can get it from the Google or wherever, and then we'll share it on the screen in the meantime. So we heard about the tragedy which has this tragedy fallen on the fly, or has the fly invited this tragedy upon herself?
Ma'am, Fly has invited the tragedy upon her.
Yes, I think, thank you, Kshitij, for saying that, because I think she could have very well averted it. She could have very well averted it. In fact, in the beginning, the first three stanzas, four stanzas also, she was able to, avert it. She was able to stop short all the lurings, all the temptations, and it's just when it came to flattery, when it came to the compliments to her physical beauty, that she she fell victim. She fell victim. So it was on this note that I had finished off the last session yesterday, that the physical beauty can be a bait for all of us. It can be a bait. It can bring danger on all of us. So this is something we all need to learn from the poem. You remember we talked about yesterday that she was dragged up the winding stair and was taken into the dismal den, and there she went into the parlor, where she had already heard that whoever goes never comes out again, and that was the fate which met her too. She was taken in, and she could never come out. She was gone forever. That sweet fly, the fly who was able to stop the spider in the first stanza. She went on and she said, "No, I'm not coming in the second stanza." She did sound quite strong willed when she said, "I do not wish to see your pantry. I have no desire to see the pantry." But unfortunately, the moment he started praising the physical features, her eyes and wings, and that's when she said, "I'll call another day." So this is the way we trace and we understand what happens to the fly. Would you blame the spider?
No, ma'am.
I think it's the nobody can tempt us. Nobody can tempt us till we do not allow ourselves to be tempted. Do you agree to this question?
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
this is the question for the day, for today. I'm sure you understand the characters of both of them. So that's another question that we probably will take up later. But I'm talking of another question today, and that is, nobody can tempt us till we allow ourselves to be tempted. Can we blame the spider?
No, ma'am.
Normally in this world, we are very quick to say, whenever somebody says, "Why did you do this?" We are quick to say, "Ma'am, she, ma'am, he, ma'am, इन्होंने कहा था, ma'am, ये नहीं." You know, we immediately pass the blame on somebody else. Whom will the fly pass the blame for her own dismal end, the tragic end? Whom will she give the blame to? Will she blame the spider? How will it help? It won't. It is all in our character. It should be in our character. We should be so strong enough that we refuse to give in to any kind of temptations, anything happening around us. So this is something so important. And yesterday, I think I was almost sharing a solution that let us have self appraisal. Let's have a self appraisal. Let us find, like I talked about a SWOT analysis yesterday. Let's understand that this particular thing is good in me. This is something which is my strong point. Now this is something which I maybe lack. So what happens is that if somebody tells you something, it does not affect. It does not affect. Or even if it affects, we'll be able to take stock that how much of it is flattery and how much of it is the genuine compliment. So we should be able to sift between the two. And now, dear little children, who made this story read, to idle, silly, flattering words, I pray you never give heed. So, my dear sweet children, there's a big lesson here to be learned. The poem is didactic. The word is didactic. Didactic. The word is didactic. Didac, didactic. So that's what is one of the questions here, that the poem is didactic. So this is one of the questions that may be there that you need to start working upon. Then what was the other question I just said? I had said earlier.
That we could not blame the spider.
Bring, bring out the characters of the spider and the fly. You need to discuss and bring out the characters of the spider and the fly. You need to talk about that. And another one question was that I think it will be we start thinking upon these questions so that we can discuss them also. We cannot blame anyone else for what happens to us. Do you agree? Discuss with various to the whole. All right. Now, those are the questions that at the moment I am talking of, and just go over them and see, will you be able to write answers for these or not? Look at them. What is it that you will talk about? Bring out the characters. Are you able to do this? Bring out the characters of the spider and the fly. What
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
what all can you talk about the spider and the fly? We will have to take up each stanza and then talk about that. Through the first stanza, we come to know about the spider, that he is, and then you take up all the qualities that come in your mind. So what I'll be doing is that you need to work upon this question, and then I'll be discussing it. It's something that you'll have to take it up, so that and take up the points that come to your mind. I think whatever it may be, see if you're able to handle it or not. See if you're able to handle it. Any of the three questions that you think are a little tough for you, then let me know.
Ma'am, what's the meaning
Ma'am,
of
please.
didactic?
Didactic means it teaches us a lesson. It teaches us a lesson, something which teaches us a lesson. So do you think the poem is teaching us a lesson here?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the lesson that we get here?
That we shouldn't be tempted by others.
Yes, so that is the main thing. And that would be the main lesson we have learned, that there are a number of lessons we are learning. And one of them would be that we should not get tempted by whatever others are saying, and how to make sure that we are not tempted by others. How to make sure?
Be aware of yourself.
So the number one step would be that first we should be aware of our own qualities, whatever they may be. They may be our strengths or they may be our weaknesses. So that's how we will take it up. And what I plan to do is that we will discuss all the three questions in our next classes. Do you think a discussion is needed, or you will be able to sketch the answer?
Discussion.
Yes, Share, tell me, if you think you will be able to do it, or you will need...
Ma'am, I think all the three questions we have discussed in all these explanations.
Absolutely. That is basically there, that we have already done it. So the point is that maybe you can try it. What I can do is why don't you give it a try, see if you're able to do, and in case you're not able to do, then we will discuss them still more in detail. If you agree to this, then it will be all right.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes.
Ma'am, the first question which you have given is the poem is didactic. So we have to take the example from the poem and relate it into the real life.
Oh yes. First, no. Real life can come later. But first we have to keep on talking about what all the lessons that we learn from the first stanza, second stanza, third stanza. So treat it stanza wise. Go over it stanza wise, and then keep talking about that. What is the lesson learned? And then overall from the poem, what are the different lessons we have learned? And then you end up by saying that how we can use them in our life, and how we can make our life better by the reading of this poem. I'll just take up the last two lines before we go ahead. So the important lesson that we are being told towards the end of the poem is that, dear little children, who all may this story read, to idle, silly, flattering words, I pray you never give heed. So the poetess is requesting that never ever give in to the idle, silly, flattering words. I think we have all agreed upon that. And have we all decided also that we will never let this happen in our life?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I think How many of you have decided? Let me hear your voices because I can hear two people agreeing. Okay, Kunika says yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I will never.
Yes,
What?
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. What? Complete the whole thing. I will never pay heed to idle, silly, flattering words. So say that.
Yes, ma'am. I'll never pay heed to idle, sweet, and flattering words.
Yes, so that's the way it will be. Unto an evil counselor, close heart and ear and eye. Don't give your heart to anyone who has evil intentions when they are complimenting you. They may compliment, they may use words which will sound very appealing to our heart, to our ears, and they may offer us things, gifts, which may be very appealing to our eyes. But do not get tempted. Do not be lured by that. And take a lesson from this tale of the spider and the fly. So that is what we are being told at the end, that yes, we must take a lesson here. So the poem definitely is didactic because the poetess herself, towards the end, is talking about the lesson we should keep in mind. So that's how it goes on. And there are a couple of things that you can keep in mind. Uh, it's a cautionary tale about the manner in which the innocent and the gullible, can be won over, can be cheated by the wily and the shrewd, just like we have the spider here in that category. And this poem, although is a fable, although it's a fantasy, but the way spider and the fly talk and they converse with each other, they behave like human beings. So although the poem is a fable, but it is a important metaphor. They are important metaphor for telling us how we need to be careful from all those who are evil around us. So I just hope that the poem is quite clear. Any doubts in the poem?
No, ma'am.
All of them are very clear. Well, so what I plan to do today is that I will, if the poem is very clear, you have got these 3 questions, try and work upon them. And then in case they're difficult, then I'll take up the questions along with you and probably work upon the answers and then see how you're able to do it. And in the meantime, since we have finished with the poem and a story, we'll now be moving towards the Tempest. We'll be starting with the play soon. All right. So before we start the play, I want you to finish all the questions of Salvatore, and I want you to finish all the poems, all the questions of the spider and the fly, so that you are very sure, and then you can submit your answers to me, and then we will move towards the play, so that one book doesn't, hinder with the other one. You should be completely free from all questions of these 2 things. I think I've finished up with what we had to do today. So I think I'll call it a day at the moment. I will end the class here. And because other things we will take up in the new session. So I think you can enjoy your evening and enjoy your festival. Those of you celebrate Janamashtami, enjoy your festival. Be safe, be happy. Have a wonderful evening. I'll see you soon in the next session, whenever the next session would be announced. Till then, take care. Lots of love. God bless. Alini ma'am is signing off for the evening. Goodbye.